The controversy surrounding GMO has existed for a while. The seed company Monsanto makes the argument that genetically modified seeds not only help agriculture, but also farmers. Behind me, you will find the country's largest urban oil field, and they are known to use a new controversial drilling process. They argue that the bill will not only provide access, but better options for safer abortions. It may be the only billion-dollar industry that no one likes to talk about. That is, until it intersects with politics and health. These people say they will keep protesting until big companies start producing GMO, better known as genetically modified food. They walked through the Koreatown area of Los Angeles in what they call a march against Monsanto.
We are here today to take back our lives.
But what exactly does the term GMO stand for? Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, are plants or animals whose genetic material has been altered. With the exception of fresh fruit and veggies, GMOs are present in more than 60% of foods on USA supermarkets. Simone Frame says it's people's basic human right to know what they are eating.
And what we're putting into our kids' bodies and our families' bodies. And I believe that there are big corporations like Monsanto who are trying to intentionally keep us from knowing that.
Lily Copeland came to the rally with a specific message to President Obama.
I am 11 years old. There are many millions of kids my age and younger in this country whose future lives you are stealing by pushing Monsanto. Our kids will have no clean food if you do not stop. Our kids will most likely have broken guts, organ failure, and fatal cancers if you do not stop.
The controversy surrounding GMO has existed for a while. The seed company Monsanto makes the argument that genetically modified seeds not only help agriculture, but also farmers. Some scientists make the argument that farmers have always altered with food, but that consumers have never really known the difference. They also make the argument that genetically modified food items such as rice could actually help end world hunger. Sandak Basu, a biology professor at Cal State Northridge, says the use of biotechnology helps us identify good genes.
So basically what we are doing is, in traditional breeding, we are using one line and crossing it with the other line. That is a traditional breeding. And in biotechnology, we are pinpointing one gene and taking the gene from one plant and putting into other.
While Basu does not support corporate profit, he believes science is the answer to end world hunger.
It's a tool in the toolbox. If we let this process flourish, there is a chance that we can address the hunger in the developing countries.
The spokesman for Monsanto said via email that the company is making a contribution to improving agriculture by helping farmers produce more from their farms. David King was one of the main speakers during the rally.
Monsanto has got the money. We don't have the money, but we've got you!
King, who was born into farming, opened up the Learning Garden in Venice 10 years ago. He grows everything from salad, tomato, eggplants, and red chilies. King says GMO is a war against nature we simply cannot win.
Over the years, they've consolidated the seed market down to very few varieties. The very few varieties, then, leave you susceptible to crop failure.
Monsanto, unstoppable! Another world is possible!
For protesters at this rally, the fight will not end here.
They've declared war on biodiversity, and certainly we didn't start the fight, but look forward to finishing it.
Reporting from Koreatown, I'm Mona Adem, Valley News.
We are very confused because we identify like gas plus guava plus cherry.
Monique Uriarte knew something was wrong when she and her family began getting sick 3 years ago. She did not know exactly what was happening, but she did know it was something in the air.
My whole family needs to leave to another city because we are not able to stay right here.
Uriarte is now sure that the smell is coming from here. Located across from her home in South Los Angeles, Elenco Energy is an oil company. Equipment used to extract oil is hidden, but you can see it from the roof of a nearby school. She believes this process is releasing dangerous chemicals that are causing health problems for herself and her daughter.
The air makes you get sick. Like, I've never had heart problems, and I'm experiencing them.
Uriarte is not the only one concerned about the site. Nancy Alpern is the executive director for Esperanza Community Housing that serves residents in South Los Angeles.
I think that this is a moment of really looking at these toxic abuses of communities, particularly in our case, low-income communities of color. We want to make sure that our communities are not abused.
Alpern says the number of complaints went up dramatically after Elenco increased its oil production.
While we have recorded approximately 270, 280 phone calls, the AQMD recognizes that in that particular time, 251 recorded phone calls were registered by them.
There was an increase of report from the neighborhood sending you complaints. Did you guys recognize that? During a phone interview, the spokesperson for South Coast Air Quality Management District, Sam Atwood, said samples indicate that residents have not been exposed to danger. Elenco, who refused to leave any comments for the story, is not the only oil industry in Los Angeles that have caused controversy. Behind me, you will find the country's largest urban oil field, and they are known to use a new controversial drilling process. It's hydraulic fracturing, or fracking, and people living near this Inglewood oil field say it's polluting the air and causing homes to crack. But California Director for Energy in Depth says it's simply silly to believe that fracking is harmful.
You're talking about taking fluid, which is 99.5% water, and a little bit of sand, and about 0.5% a few chemicals, all of which you can find under your kitchen sink, in an open, in an open drawer. Putting it down a couple miles below ground. A lot of times when people do these drawings, they don't really give a sense of scale. So imagine a couple miles down under billions of tons of impermeable rock, where oil and gas has lived for millions, if not tens of millions of years, right? So the oil and gas has been down there. That's a fluid. It's already there. Okay, it can't defy gravity and come up by itself. It can't get through the billions of tons of impermeable rock. Now we're just replacing that fluid with other fluid.
Quest says oil drilling can create an economic renaissance in Los Angeles while providing millions of jobs.
We live around oil and gas development and have in Los Angeles throughout almost all of our history. And we're home to the Inglewood oil field, which is the largest urban oil field in the United States, surrounded by lots of, really in the middle of the second biggest city in the country. We're governed by, and that oil field in particular is governed by the strictest regulations in the entire United States.
But regulation and transparency is exactly what geologist Dr. Tom Williams says is missing. Take this building, for example, on Pico and Genesee. Having the same color as the Elenco facility, it has no windows or direct address. And while people drive by it every day, the oil site is hidden to the public eye. Or take this tower located at Beverly Hills High School. Decorated by colorful flowers, the oil rig remains invisible. Even though the investigation might take years, these people say they won't give up until they achieve their goal.
To shut down because they're making not only me sick, but other people.
For Valvy News, I'm Mona Adem in South Los Angeles.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. His string is marching on.
These people say they are remembering the unborn children lost to abortion. They call it a Holocaust or murder.
Abortion is murder. Abortion is wrong, it's sin.
Abortion right opposer News Moore says this is a fight for the voiceless.
I believe that every life needs to be protected. Every life needs to be defended and protected. Every baby needs to be loved.
But opponents say this was not only a day to pray or share grief for the unborn. It was also a way to raise political awareness.
Memorial service for these children.
California Pro-Life Council member Brian Johnson urged people to help stop the new abortion bill recently passed by both California Assembly and Senate.
Well, the abortion industry has said that they want abortions between a woman and her doctor. But what's happened is that they're actually making abortion commonplace, and it's not a medical procedure in their mind anymore.
The bill, AB 154, will allow non-physicians such as licensed midwives and nurses to perform abortion. President for Foot Soldiers for Life, Katrina Contreras, says the new bill will not only hurt women, but also increase the death rate of women in California.
I really want to reiterate that women are dying from abortion, and it is happening across the United States, and it will increase in the state of California.
Planned Parenthood, who sponsored the bill, does not believe it will create any kind of safety risk for women. Instead, they argue that the bill will not only provide access, but better options for safer abortions. Planned Parenthood's Celinda Vasquez says a study contradicts the safety risk argument.
And it showed that actually the procedure performed by trained, certified nurse midwives, physician assistants, and nurse practitioners was actually exactly as safe as performed by a physician, and that the patient satisfaction was very high.
The decades-long debate surrounding abortion is a worldwide issue. Pope Francis recently called abortion a consequence of today's throwaway culture. Ana Valadares is the Director of Research for California Latinos for Reproductive Justice. She says while the churches are very powerful, surveys have shown that religion may not play a decisive role in family formation for Latinos.
And one of the findings that I found really amazing was that, the adults listed that even though, religion was important in their lives, it doesn't really dictate what their decisions are at the end of the day around family formation, for example, around pregnancy or even terminating a pregnancy.
Valadera says abortion is only one part of the health and reproductive rights women should have.
We feel that they're all equally important, and women, again, should be able to decide which, when and how many and with who they are able to have children, and not be separated from those children.
Lord, we commend these souls to you.
While most people here oppose abortion for religious reason, one also has a personal reason.
Maybe 20 or so more years ago, probably more, when I was younger, I had 2 abortions. And all my life I have lived with this feeling of not knowing who my children were and stuff like that. So I've become pro-life because I need to do something. If I don't do it, nobody else will.
In East Los Angeles, I'm Mona Adem for Valley View News. With less than 4 months until the new healthcare begins for millions of Californians, Service Employees International, United Healthcare Workers for America, continues their mission to make people ready for Obamacare. Volunteers and staff members welcome potential healthcare participants before describing the Obamacare and Let's Get Healthy California mission. By targeting low-income neighborhoods of South and East Los Angeles, the union tries to raise awareness about the changes that will occur under the new health reform. Elliot Perry, the lead organizer who has been with the union for over 2 years, said one of the biggest obstacles to overcome is the feeling of hopelessness.
These are really working class neighborhoods, working class communities, and so the biggest obstacle really is people's hope. Or lack thereof. We are dealing with folks who have encountered all sorts of obstacles to getting health care coverage. They've been told no and don't know why. They've been given the runaround, been told to go here and go there, and they can't find any help. Some people have had coverage and then were dropped from coverage and have no idea why. They just the system doesn't speak to people in a way that's plain, in a way that's simple. And so it creates a lot of confusion, and people begin to lose, little by little, begin to lose their hope.
But while California, which has one of the highest rate of uninsured residents in the nation, may be in lead of implementing Obamacare, a new poll shows that 60% of Californians are somewhat knowledgeable about Obamacare.
Well, I just know that it gives health insurance to people, and to people that already have insurance, it just keeps it the same way.
I believe when you're 18, they take it away, right? The Medicare, and so you have to get your own health insurance.
If you're not a full-time employee and you don't have health care, that they're going to take it out of your tax refund or something like that. I'm not sure.
Well, first of all, I don't know what Obamacare is, so if I knew, then I would have, but Obama, please help me.
Rudy Becerra, an organizer for the union, says the main reason why low-income residents have a limited knowledge of the new healthcare reform is because there are too many outlets that give wrong information.
There's a lot of confusion too with the programs. So what we do is really try to create understanding and help out with the Medi-Cal. This is what Healthy Way LA is. This is what Medi-Cal. These are under Obamacare. Obamacare is not a plan, it's the law, and this is what's under Obamacare. So really, that's very true. A lot of the folks that really need it don't have the least amount of understanding, and so that's our job, is going out there in the community. And that's why we're in certain communities, South Los Angeles, Boyle Heights, Compton, Linwood, because those are, low-income minority communities that really need to know the information and really need the benefits the most.
Not only do Californians learn about healthcare reform, they also get informed about the different clinics available to them to get the help they need. AltaMed is one of such clinics that help specifically low-income patients. Alfonso Vega, director for AltaMed, says healthcare should not be a commodity, but a basic human right.
So from our perspective, healthcare reform is a dream come true. Within our communities that we serve alone, there's over 500,000 people who currently are uninsured that will have access to healthcare that have never had access before. Within our own clinics, there's 65,000 people that currently have either no insurance or some type of partial coverage that will qualify for full coverage effective January 1st. So the opportunity is tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous.
After visiting the different stations and gaining a little bit more knowledge about Obamacare, many potential participants felt that the day was not only helpful, but also provided a relief.
Now I can say that I can help my brothers and sisters, my neighbors, and not to be afraid.
Well, I feel that I know more, that I can go home and tell my mom and dad, about it, because they don't know.
I haven't been to a doctor in nearly 10 years,
Angelito de Guzman. Angelito de Guzman.
I'm pretty happy now.
In East Los Angeles, I'm Mona Adem, Valley View News. Hello and welcome to On Point. I'm Mona Adem. Today we're going to talk about the DJ culture. Joining me is my first guest, Chris Perez, a CSUN student and professional DJ. Next to him, we have Josh Lynn, a CSUN student also and a DJ. And next to him, we have Dr. Bernardo Atias, a CSUN professor of communication and an editor of the new book that is specifically about the DJ culture. How would you define a DJ?
Well, that's a great question because that's what a big part of a couple of different chapters in the book are going to be about.
Let me ask you this one. When it comes to gender dynamics within the DJ culture, how would you respond to that?
The two co-editors with me on the book are both women and they're both DJs, and they both have stories that are just incredible of where they're at a gig, their names on the thing, they're the DJ. And somebody comes up and sees them digging around looking for a record and says, excuse me, can you get the DJ for me? I have a question, or I want to hear a song. And it's like, what you know, what do you think I am? You know, and they assume they're the DJ's girlfriend. You know, so the assumption is kind of built into the culture. So now that said, there are some, you know, amazing women DJs, and they're serving as role models to bring more women into the culture. So I think slowly that is changing over time. But I also think this weird sort of exploitation of you know, the visual aspect is making a big problem. And in some places, I mean, I don't think that's happening here as much, but in some places they're even DJing topless, you know. Yeah. So it's all about the sexual exploitation and not about what they're playing or the sounds at all, and that's, you know, troubling.
I want to thank you all for coming today.
Thank you.
We would all like to thank you for tuning in to On Point. If you would like to see more of this, you can follow us on Facebook by searching CSUN On Point, and follow us on Twitter at CSUN On Point, all one word. This show also appears on our website at csuntvnews.com, or catch us here every Sunday at 4 o'clock. For Aniola Yos and all of us here at On Point, I'm Mona Adem.